Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun, and tonight we'll be looking at a topic, People Analytics in Action, Building Data-Driven HR Function. I'm excited, delighted, elated to have for the first time and the first of two series in quick succession, my friend, my colleague, my brother, David Okunawa, who will be facilitating the session for us this evening. And I would like to read a little about him, his profile. David Okunawa is a practitioner with over a decade of professional experience in human resource management, which spans industries such as fast-moving consumer goods, manufacturing, facility management, automobiles, real estate, and logistics. In addition to his industry role, he has served as a mathematics lecturer at a center of National Open University of Nigeria, demonstrating his ability to educate and mentor diverse audience effectively. With respect to his academic background, he has a master's in operation research from the University of Lagos, equipped with expertise in simulation, optimization, and advanced behavioral analysis. He also has a first degree, Bachelor's of Science in Industrial Mathematics from Adekunle Ajasin University. Ladies and gentlemen, this has provided him with strong grounding in quantitative reasoning and HR technology platforms. With respect to core HR mastery, very prolific and proficient in HR strategy and human resource information system leadership. He has led HRS transitions in different organizations using multiple different HR softwares, all the ones you know, plus more. Also is very, well-grounded in HR analytics and talent insight. He has developed dashboards for performance, turnover, engagement, and simulated employee behavior for productivity modeling. He's a proud associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. He has also upskilled through HR data analytics with UTIVA. He also has gone through training with respect to collective bargaining and gender equality with UNI Global Workshop, and also payroll management and compliance process with the famous Ernst & Young. Ladies and gentlemen, excited, elated, delighted to present to us David Okunawa as he leads us tonight in a conversation around people analytics in action. The next voice you'll be hearing is that of David Okunawa. You have the floor, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, my colleagues. How are we doing today? I think I need to sit up. Those were challenging profile, I must say, but thank you very much, sir. So we are here today to discuss people analytics in action, a way to build data-driven HR function. My name is David Okunawa, as introduced, and I work as head of human resource in AAG Express Logistics Limited. So we go straight into the business of the day. So here we are going to be talking about different points. At the end of this webinar, we'll be able to understand the foundation of people analytics. We will talk about the difference between HR analytics, like we all know, and people analytics. At the same time, we'll be talking about the tools, how to implement them. We will take a look at a few real-world case studies, and then how we can further improve on whatever we have been doing. But before we go into this, I'm sure that every one of us, when we hear about measure of dispersion, everyone will say, I don't know what this is all about. Well, I am coming in with some mathematics approach to things here. But when we hear mean, median, and mode, I believe that majority of us can relate with it from the secondary school days when we talk about calculate the mean, the median, and the mode. Yes. Over then, when you calculate the mean, let's say the mean summation f of x over summation f gives you 11. When you write that and you submit, your teacher will just say, yes, if the total mark is 10, you get 10 over 10. But as you advance, the difference comes in, and that is why we are here today. That 10 you have gotten is the data. Now, what information can you make out of that 11 that equals to the mean? That is what we are here to do, actually. But before we move on, Edward Demings told us that without data, you are just another person with an opinion. We are all HR professionals here, and we know that we relate with people, and they all have different needs. They all have different they all have the same fundamental human rights that sometimes might want to clash with the kind of work we do. So that is why we come in as HR people to see how we can create a balance in between by using a data-driven approach instead of just mere intuition. Therefore, when you talk about people analytics, we're starting from intuition. We observe that there's a problem in the system. If we look at the HR, the personnel days, the personnel management of those days, we realize that many times they take many employees, many ex-employees, they take their employers to the National Industrial Court for one grievances of the other that was not, they couldn't solve while inside the employment. So what do? They will go outside, drag the employers to court, and back and forth will continue to ensue. So in order to avoid this, there are intuition that what could be the cause of all this? Okay, we can do it by virtue of getting information from different people. That is, getting data from different people. And this started from the use of normal computer usage. As we are trying to do all this, computer creators, computer makers, they are developing more reinforced devices to make our work easier. So I will restrict myself to the usage of the computer and not how to make it now. So the first thing that will come to mind is the use of data analytics. When you talk about data analytics, we all know what it's all about. It is applicable to almost everything in different facets of life. But now when we're talking about HR, we are looking at HR analytics, the journey. When you're talking about HR analytics, you want to analyze a situation. So you will have to collect data from different corners. And when you collect it, you modify it, you redesign it, you flex it anyhow, you will realize that this data will be telling you something. It will lead you towards a certain decision. Because without data, you only be given an opinion. Your intuition will remain an intuition. You'll not be able to speak facts to different situations. So in data analytics, we are talking about what you derive from your analysis, from your insight. Number one, you're talking about the descriptive, the description. What does it mean? What happened? Why are we doing this analytics? Diagnosis. Okay, why did this thing happen to us? Why are they taking us to court? Predictive. What would have happened if what would happen if this situation persists? And then you prescribe. Okay, let's say, for example, your employees cannot speak for themselves. Then we are saying maybe there's a situation of bully in the system. Someone is shutting them down, not giving them the level playing ground. So why is this thing happen? It could be a manager that is causing this. Why is this manager doing this? Because he has too much power. So if we discover that this manager has too much power, should we leave him to continue? Yes or no? So if we say yes, let him continue, then we know that we are hitting the corporate graveyard very soon. But if we say no, then it's fine. It means that we have the heart of the people. We want them to feel involved. We want them to feel engaged and to do well for the organization. Now, what do we do in this case? What should be done to this manager that feels like he's a Lord Almighty in the environment? Okay, one of the things we can do, okay, let's say we can just decimate his power and see if he'll be able to do what he's doing. So these are the things that analytics can help you achieve. During the course of this webinar, I will show us why all these things are possible. Secondly, we can also make use of HRIS tools. They come in such that they analyze your data for you somehow. However, they are nothing is cast in stone in HRIS. If you realize that your HRIS is not giving you what you want, because definitely they will give you some analytics, and if it's not solving your problem, you can always pull out the reports and still convert it to reports that you can modify by yourself. Apart from these two, we also moved to the point of visualization. You plot graphs, you have charts, different charts, which makes data analysis easy and appreciated. You also have your AI and the predictive analytics model. So now, why do people engage in people analytics? Why do we engage in analyzing people? Because it enhances hiring accuracy. Because during your recruitment, when you are interviewing somebody, believe you me, you are catching data. You are gathering data from every point, every question you see, every question you throw out, whatever response they give you, be it body language or whatsoever, it is data you are gathering. So in order to help you achieve hiring accuracy, you need to be observant of your candidate. Improved employee retention, we know what this one is all about. Increase employee engagement, optimize workforce planning, the list is inexhaustible. Furthermore, still on fundamentals of people analytics, we know that most HR leaders, what we want is just how to calculate the turnover rates, especially business leaders. We want what is good for our business, but are we willing to do what the business needs to continue? So we look at turnover rate, time to fill, amongst others. Yes, we can do the calculation. We calculated turnover rate. It is below 10%. Yes. What does that tell us? We don't know. But we are going to get to know all this during the course of this webinar. And how do we get the information that we use in computing our all these metrics that are listed here? Through employee survey, HRIS data, performance review, and so on. Your physical interview and your exit interview. And before I go further, I would like to let us know about the difference between HR analytics and people analytics. People analytics is a larger platform of analysis. Meanwhile, HR analysis is just peculiar to the operations of human resource units. So it is when you complete your HR analytics, you calculate the time to fill, you calculate the turnover rate, you do everything. Then you can now predict, why is this figure this? As I was saying the other time, calculation of mean median mode, when you calculate your mean and it gave you 11, it doesn't stop there. It stops there in elementary school, but when you advance, then we have need to go further. There's need for us to go further and say, this 11, what does it mean? In the elementary school, when the teacher is marking you 10 over 10, you are a good student. In the university, the lecturer might tell you, look, you got 11. Yes, that's correct. But I'm just giving you 4 over 10 or 3 over 10. The remaining 7 marks or 6 marks depends on your interpretation. You should be able to interpret what that 11 is giving you as a mean or the median or the modal class of that distribution. If you cannot interpret, then you are not yet a good analyst. So when you're able to analyze your data very well, you can see whether you are leading in this operation or you are lagging behind somewhere. When you are leading, you know that yes, you are doing fine, but you don't have to stop. You have to keep improving all the time. Otherwise, I hope we don't fall into the case of Techno, Samsung, and Nokia. We don't know what we did, but somehow we failed. So if you are leading, don't relent. And if you are lagging, keep improving. So when we talk about analytics, HR analytics or people analytics, there are tools we make use of. And some of them are listed here. The example, we have the Power BI, we have the Tableau, we have Excel, Google Analytics, Python for the programmers, and a few of non-programmers can as well use it. But for the sake of generality and the easy availability, we know that Microsoft Excel is the most popular amongst almost everyone here. I can tell that everyone on this call today, one way or the other, have made use of Microsoft Excel. And it is possible that majority can tell me that they've not used Tableau, while a few have used Power BI. Some will tell you, I don't even know what Tableau is all about. I'm hearing it for the first time. I'm hearing Python for the first time, and so on. So it is possible. Excel is the most popular one here that almost everybody uses, and almost HR practitioner should endeavor to involve in the use of Microsoft Excel because it actually makes your life easier if you know what I'm talking about. We'll definitely see it as time goes on. So what we are seeing here, I will make this a little bit of interaction amongst us. Okay, I will talk about this. Then over time, we will have a short webinar here. If you can see my slide on this dashboard, can I get some emoji, please? Can we see the dashboard?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. So this is a simple dashboard from a data analytics activity that happened. So we have a list of total staff strength to be 240 in a certain organization. So a survey was conducted, and at least 70% of the workforce of 240 was supposed to participate. Unfortunately, out of this survey, only 47 participated in this survey. So from this, at this point, if we start interpreting, we can see that people didn't really come forward to participate. Now, there's a reason here. There's a question to ask. Why did this happen? People did not come out. Is it that they are afraid that somebody will hear them? Is it that they're afraid that there is one manager, should I say in the normal term, people will say one pharaoh somewhere that is trying to oppress them? Who knows what's on their mind? Why only these few choose to participate while the remaining about 190 decided to stay away? So this 47 does not really form a real sample point for the survey. So this might lead to a bias in whatever analytics you are doing. And as we can see, the participation ratio, which can also be described as the engagement ratio, is just 20% stroke 80, 20% to 80 non-participants. And for us, one thing again is that for us to get a good analysis, to get a good insight to whatever analysis we have done, we should be sure that our data is clean. And what do you mean by clean data here? If you have an Excel sheet, it is arranged in order of rows and columns. The rows are also known as a record, generally accepted to be for the record, and the columns are meant for the fields. The fields like date of birth, date of joining, departments, and so on. While the fields are individual record for each employee, since we are talking employment here now. So from the record, we can now see further that of these 47, 53% of them are female. 47 they are male. This also tells us something. Now, moving on again, we move to cadre distribution. We have three categories: admin, management, and support. If your data is not clean enough, that is, some entries in your fields are missing, you might not really get the right information. So what does it mean to have a clean data? You've already created an employee database on your system, but then you realize that for like 20 employees out of 240, their dates of birth are missing, or dates of engagement, date of joining are missing. This might give you a bias analysis. So the process of you looking for this missing data and inserting them into the empty space is known as data cleaning. So going still by this dashboard, we can see the length of service also. With this length of service, this is derived from the date of engagement, the date of joining of each employee in the system, according to the database. So when you now convert it to a chart, you can see that we have different axes: the count of employees that participated in the survey and the number of years that each person has spent: 0 to 1 year, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3, 4 to 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. This tells us that the oldest employee in this organization has stayed just 5 years in the system. So why are we having 5 years, only 1 or 2 people spending 5 years in the system, while the majority of the workforce is 1 to 2? It could be that the reason here could be that about 1 to 2 years ago, the business expanded across different branches, or they decide to increase their scope of production. Probably they have high demand in their supply, in their product. So they decide to expand, employ more hands in the last 2 years. It doesn't really mean that people are leaving the system like that. So there could be reason for all this. Now, aside this, instead of length of service, it could be the date of birth. So if I say continue on length of service, we can see that with people working for like a year or 2, you can say, okay, it can help you in the way of benefits approach, benefits, compensation and benefits. You say for the employees that have stayed 2 years and above, let them have this and that because they've stayed long in the system. For the employees that have spent 2 to 3 years, let us give them maybe a MacBook as a work tool. While those who have spent 1 to 2 years, let's give them an HP or a Dell or Core i7 laptop. Of course, we know that Apple products, people appreciate Apple products more than the normal laptop because of the way they do their marketing strategy. They have a target market, the class of users, they have it. So the company can say, okay, we give you 2 to 3 years. So this creates a retention strategy and a sense of belonging for an employee to know that, okay, if I stay 1, 2 more, 3 years, I'll be using a MacBook. And if I stay 2 to 3 or 4 years, I'll be getting an official car. So these are strategies you can use. Otherwise, it will just be an opinion. So aside this, you can as well look at your data again, convert it to date of birth. When you talk about date of birth in this case, you can get different kind of information out of your graph. If you see people who are below 30 years of age, you can categorically tell the generation cohorts in which they belong to, mostly the Gen Z. If you see people who are above 30 years of age in your chart, you can say, okay, these people, they are likely to be millennials or Generation X, or they might be boomers. So when you see all this, it can help you in the order of creating a kind of engagement policy that suits different employment, that suit different generations cohorts. Otherwise, you might just be organizing maybe a team bonding activity, and you are bringing forth a game that took place in the days of the millennials, of the baby boomers in the 70s, and you are using the same thing for Gen Z. They will tell you, I don't tag with this, I don't tag along with this. Please, can you move this aside? They won't participate. They will feel like this is boring. This is a boring game. But when you're able to analyze your people, you know the kind of people they are, you know what appeals to them, you can bring it on board, and believe me, they will embrace it and do well for you. So apart from the generational policy, you can also using a date of birth to generate how old each employee are. It can also help you in the order of leadership style that you use for each generation's cohort. You know the kind of person that a Gen Z is. You know the kind of person that a millennial is. You know what appeals to each of this category. Because you have their data, you can tell, okay, if I do this like this, it might not work for this person because this person is a millennial. I am a baby boomer. It might not work for this person. So what do? I have to change my strategy. Thanks to data, I know that this person, it doesn't work for majority of the people in this age category. The same thing you can do for the other generations cohorts. It can help you in your leadership style to know how to approach different people at different times. And at the same time, having date of birth, talking about the people's age, using graph can also help you in creating further retention strategy as well, such that you create a benefit plan for your employee, a retirement benefit plan, apart from the pension and other statutory benefit plan. You can create a bespoke benefit plan for yourself, like saying, okay, every employee of mine, upon retirement, you will not go home just the way you came in. You can create a training plan for your employee. You can have a policy that every employee who has clocked 40 in the system, we will enroll them for a form of learning and development. It could be soft skill, it could be a trade, to help them for life after retirement. So you can also create a kind of flexible work pattern for them, such that they get to learn the job after the training. You can say, okay, from 45 to 46, you'll be training. After that 1 year or 6-month training, you can say from age 47 to 48, I will give you 2 days, 1 day off to concentrate on your business that you have learned. Then from 48 to 50, I will give you 3 days off to stay at home and focus on your business. And then the remaining 2 days, come and work for me. I am leaving you the rest because I know that in few months' time, you are leaving. So by 50, once they retire, they know that they have something to fall back on. They don't begin to lobby in the system. Because when they continue to lobby, they will not allow fresh blood to come into the system. They will not allow fresh idea to come into the system. These are the ways we can encourage business owner to see from our own angle, to know that, yes, we are experts in what we do when you work with data. So from this, we move on to our interpretation. which we have actually done so far. As we can see on the screen, we are talking about the description, what happened, why did this thing happen? What will happen if we allow this problem to persist? And what should we do? So this is the interpretation of the dashboard that you are seeing ahead of you, that you've seen earlier. So now when we see all this, how do we interpret? Number one, what you will do is you will translate your data insight into HR strategy. You will define your strategic growth in alignment. Let it align. Whatever you are doing, let it align with the insight and the objective why you did that analysis in the first place. You want to know if your employees are fully engaged. You cannot begin to talk about retirement plan when you want to know employee engagement. It will not work. So you stick to what you have in mind. Secondly, you have done your analysis now, and you already have in mind, I want to be like this XYZ company. I want to be like ABC Nigeria Limited. I want to be like this and that organization. This is now your model that you are working towards. You have your insight, you have your model. So how do I work to achieve this? Now, that work you are going to do, which is a missing link, is your action. As I said earlier, you must tailor your data to the objective. You must tailor your growth, your growth to the objective of your analytics. So your action must speak towards what you want to achieve. We are going to take a look of different organizations, different cases, foreign and local, in which all these things have been done and good results were achieved out of them. And lastly, amongst every other one, you should try as much to let your analytics be focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are also going to see this furthermore in the course of this webinar. However, I would like everyone of us to watch this short clip. Now, let's say, for example, we have a set of employees. Some people are jumping off buildings. Why some will say that because of village people, they cannot jump off buildings. What could be the cause? Some people are held back because of their cultural belief. So they don't want to do anything. They don't want to venture into anything extraordinary because they believe that, no, if I do this, these people called village people might hold me down. So how do we do it such that our employees will damn all consequences by saying that their village people is powerless? That takes us to this next slide here. When people think in this way, they find it difficult to make quantum leap into different aspects of life. They feel intimidated. They feel caged somewhere in their thinking, in their mindset that, no, I am not supposed to do this. Because they know that if they ever lost their job, that is the end. For the next 1, 2, 3 years, they will not be what they used to be. But when an organization creates a level playing ground for their employees, that is when we can have these two pictures here, where one employee is saying that my village people are powerless. Apparently, this guy is from one of those people that are jumping off buildings. On the other hand, the other guy is looking at him. He must have had a few bottles this morning. If not, he will know that there are village people somewhere. So now this depends on the kind of environment that the two of them grew up from. The one who said the village people are powerless probably is working in an organization that is DEI compliant, that creates a level playing ground, that gives them freedom and give them a whole lot of things that make them confident in their employer. Meanwhile, the other guy he knows that if I ever attempt this, that is the end of my job. So it is better I just keep quiet. Let's even say the manager or my head of department ask for an advice. The next thing that comes to my mind is that what if? What if? What if? What if I say this thing and my manager says it's not good enough, or my MD says it's not good enough, then he fires me. Then I'll go home. My village people will not be happy. It doesn't work. So it means that the two of them came in from different areas. Now, what are the few organizations that have helped their employees to damn all consequences and behave like a guy who said that the VPs are powerless. Number one, the Airbnb during their retrenchments. It was a bad situation for them, but they were able to make good use of it to come out strong when they retrenched 25% of their entire workforce. Employees were retrenched, but they were still enjoying. They were enjoying different benefits. They gave them opportunity. In 2020, they gave them opportunity to get better jobs. They gave them balanced life after employment, outside employment. They didn't feel that they no longer have an employment. Everything was there for them within the capacity of the organization. How did they do this? They have their reason. It was data-driven. Another example is an example of HP reducing turnover from 20% to less than 10%. How did they do this? They came up with different strategies, compensation plans, flex works life, and so on. So every employee were relaxed. They said, no, there's no need for me to move into another organization. Then they begin to think of that what if in another angle. What if it is the village people that want to make me leave this organization? If I leave this organization, that must be village people at work. Meanwhile, some people believe that it is village people that will make somebody sack you at work. So these are the things that happen in different organizations that most employments, especially in our side of the country, of the world, must adopt. Another example is the Cisco and Google workforce and succession planning model that they created. So outside that, we are going to have a look. This is going to be a kind of workforce. I will need some people to attend to this. But before then, I would describe this organization that have used data analytics to solve many problems for themselves. In the case of this employee, in the case of this company, they solved the problem of biometric system and resource allocation with the use of analytics. So this organization here, Company F, is an FMCG company in Nigeria. They have a certain number of workforce, which we are going to determine by this chart that we are seeing on the screen. They have been in existence for almost 100 years, and they've been doing fine. It's a group of company. They have different departments, which include sales. So this thing you are looking at, this chart you are looking at here, is the result, is the outcome of the data spooled out of different units of biometric machines in different months. The people using this machine, they are the people that work on site. The ones who work remotely are the limited, are the exemptions, are the one who maybe the sales engineer and the sales people. So these are the ones that go out. They have a separate way of showing their location at different time and the timing of their working. So I would like volunteers, 3 people, to tell me something about this chart here. Number 1, 3 people, one person will talk about February, the other person will talk about March, and the other person will talk about April. You will just tell me what is the total count of users that were using all these machines in the month of February. The other person will also tell us for March and for April. So you are free to unmute. 3 people, I need 3 people, one at a time. If you are on mute, just go ahead and give us a count. Thank you. Williams Olayinka, please go ahead. Williams Olayinka, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, sir. So
Good evening.
for the month of February, we have admin building to be between 53, then
Okay.
HR building to be around 5. Then for the main building or main gate to be around 69 for February. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. If we add that together, we are having almost 120 plus there. So I need another person to tell us for March. You will tell us for different terminals and tell us the total. Who's going next, please? Okay, Timzy, Timmy, please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, sir. So for March, I would say for admin building, we're having 44.
Okay.
For HR building, we're having 8.
All right.
Then for main gates, I would say we're having 73.
So that gives us a total of.
I'm not with my calculator right now.
Okay, all right. So it is still within the same range of 120 something. So Emmanuel Motito, please go ahead. Is it Motito? Emmanuel, you can go ahead. Emmanuel, go ahead, please. Okay, if Emmanuel is not ready, can Mo go on? Mo, please, let's hear you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. For April, we have 40 for admin building. For HR building, we have 9. And for main gates, we have 70. So that is
70.
a total of 139, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, 129. 129.
Looks like 119 though.
Sorry.
70 plus 40 is exactly.
Sorry, I was
So we
calculating
can
50. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Thank you. What we're not looking for exact figure actually. We are just looking for average here. So from what we have all had so far, we can see that the average number of users on different months, they are almost the same thing. And what does this tell us? It is within the range of 120 and 125. So what does this figure tell us? This tells us that Company F is a very relatively stable company where the attrition rate is very, very below 5%, not up to, it's far from 10%. So we can say that this is a stable organization. Therefore, people will thrive to stay longer in such place because there are so many things that have been put in place for them. They know that if I stay long, I will enjoy this, I will enjoy this, I would enjoy that. But then we can still use this analytics to decipher the behavior of people towards different machines. Now, these machines, they are not restricted to who uses what. You are free to use any of these machines by yourself. You may choose to leave the main gate and go to HR or admin building to use the machine. You may choose to go on main gate. Your name is recorded in every one of them. Now, another challenge is that we can see people prefer to use main gates, then followed by the admin building, but they so much don't like going towards HR. Why is this? We understand that the green one is the main gate. When you are coming from the pedestrian, the first thing you do is you clock at the main gate. Yes, that is understandable. Now, the HR building is between the car park and the admin building. So even you are driving your car into the premises, when you park your car, the biometric machine at the HR building is the closest to you. But people choose to do jump and pass and go to the admin building to clock. Why? This tells you that probably the HR is witch hunting the staff. They believe, they have the mindset that I don't want to clock in that HR office because if that HR manager sees me, it might be that time he will remember that he wants to sack somebody. I don't want him to see me. This company is so sweet. I don't want anybody to sack me. So they will just sneak away from HR and go and clock in either admin or even go back to as far as the main gate to clock. As we cannot see, main gate has the highest number of users on this system here. Now, this is all about managing people and knowing what they like most. And also, it is what to including that this organization is a unionized company. Therefore, another reason for not going to HR building could be that they have been brainwashed to think that HR is not your friend. I'm not against anybody now, but they might say, okay, because definitely employee will work closely with the union than the HR in a unionized environment, because the HR, I mean, the union is always fighting for their rights. Meanwhile, that is the same thing HR is doing, just that HR choose to do it strategically. Therefore, they will see that feel like, no, don't go near HR. HR, it is when you are coming in that they might remember that your name is on sack list. Please let us activate this sack process immediately. So aside that, why am I talking about this chart is the resource allocation side. Apart from the people analytics of this, there was a time that the one that is the most dormant machine, which is the one in HR, it went bad. On a good day, by usage, we can see that there's no much traffic actually on that machine. We can choose not to replace it and just restrict people to the remaining 2 terminals. But management said, no, we will replace it no matter what. So they decided to purchase another one. Unfortunately, the categories that are existing in the system are no longer in the market. They have already been outfaced. They are sophisticated one that has higher capacity, higher retention, higher data retention in them. So if you now bring something of higher retention, bring it to a place where it is underutilized, then it doesn't make any business sense. You've just wasted money. Meanwhile, the one at the main gate, while you are downloading the one at the admin and HR once in a month, you might be downloading the one at the main gate twice in a month. So what did this person do? You simply move the one at the main gate to HR because it's the same capacity with others. Just move it to HR because you know that it will not be utilized that much. Then you will bring the one that is of high capacity to the main gate so that people can use it. And as they are using it, it eases the pressure on you too. So you don't have to start going to that main gate to be downloading twice a month. You can now just go there once in a month to download. So that is what this chart is telling us for resource allocation and understanding why people behave the way they do towards some set of departments in the organization. So we move to the second case study. So we have a second case study here. This organization is a retail company. There's a problem in it. The total workforce in this organization is not more than 60 employees. And it has just one branch, which is, it has a manufacturer at the back of it. Now, there's a problem of employee engagement and performance. Employees are not well engaged, they feel oppressed, and at the end of the month, their salaries are never complete. And if you ask me how much is the salary range of this employee, it is between 60 and 70. So the HR started wondering, he felt like, let me approach this employee. Why are you, because those were the complaints that brought in the HR into the system in the first place. This HR started approaching the employees. Why are you guys not productive? Why are you feeling down? Why are you this? Why are you that? The HR discovered that the employees are actually not even willing to talk. And why? He was able to deduce that one of them told him that, look, the way they said it, that the business owner has his people amongst us. So we don't know who is going to talk that they will use against us. So we are not saying anything. So in this case, the HR decided to go into data gathering. He now went into the HR office, looked at the archive. Do we have staff file? He realized that the total file, not to talk of 60 people. So he started pulling information, pulling different papers from everywhere. He realized that date of birth is in the generator room. School certificate is in the server room. He started pulling everything together. He created a database. It was at that point he now discovered that majority of the workforce stay far was not
I can't hear him anymore. Is it just me?
Sorry about that. I'm back now. Can we all hear me now? Can we all hear me? If you can hear me, can I see some thumbs up or emoji or something?
I can hear
I
you
can-
from
I
here.
can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So as I was saying, people are afraid to speak up in this organization because of the fear of oppression. So the HR person now went into the archive, pulled information from everywhere to get a very clean data. He analyzed it and he discovered that many of these employees, they stay far away. About 40% of them stay far away from the mainland. And this is the category of employee that has direct impact on the production. So he now proposed to the management that we can do this, we can do that. Another thing that the employees they complained of, the few that were able to talk to him, they complained of reduced salary. There is no month that their salary is ever complete. Why? Because they're always been charged for late coming. So because of this, the HR developed a database, he analyzed it, and he proposed that, look, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. We can create a flexible working pattern for these employees for their productivity. Obviously, we did not consider the fact their location before employing them. So we just took them from wherever they're coming from and pushed them into the STEM and they start working. And of course, you will not blame the employees too. They took the job because they needed a job. They didn't care if the place was far in the first place. It is when they got into it, they now realize that I'm not sure I can cope anymore. They get to the work late, and the business too is not making it easy for them. They slash their salary whenever there is late coming. And the funniest thing is that it is not the HR person that was running the payroll. It is finance that was handling the payroll. And the finance person does not really have the technical know-how to handle the biometric machine because the lateness data was pulled out of the biometric machine. He only sees when they clock in. He did not So that is where there is difference between a finance person and an HR person. We add emotional intelligence to what the emotional empathy. We add empathy to what we do. Meanwhile, a finance person will just see figure and work with it straight away. So he just slashes the salary when he feels like it should be done. Whatever the machine says is what he will do. He doesn't think that, okay, I should do it this way because they might actually not be late. It could be because of weather situation or so and so on. So HR presented, and whether the management accepted or not, it doesn't really matter here. But then he proposed different situation that is either we create a staggered resumption time for them. For the people who stay in Egbeda, Akowonjo, we can allow them to resume by 9 o'clock. For the people who stay as far as Ikorodu, we can allow them to resume by 10 and close by 7. So these are the things we can deduce through the use of data analysis to see how people can work better when it comes to people analytics as well. So let's go to the third case also. So we have another case here. This is a case where an organization has issues with attendance record and sanctions. So one thing about HR is that we all know that empathy is key in whatever we do. We care for our employees. We need to hear them. That's why they call HR being the psychologist, HR is the medical doctor, HR is the lawyer, HR is this, HR is that. Yes, the work is unending. So this is an organization where lateness is an issue in the employee behavior. They choose to come late or do whatever they want to do. The system has been on, but something has to be done about it. So instead of sanction, what do? We can all see. I would need one person to unmute and tell us what the figure on the screen is saying before and after. One person should quickly unmute. Can I have a volunteer?
All right. For before, right?
Yes, you can only do before. Sorry, can you go on?
For before, grace line was 30.36% and lateness was 38.57%. On time was 31.7%.
Great. Thank you very much, Eniola. So now, what now happened in the organization that brought the change? Everyone believed that you just have to sanction. This person came late, sanction him. This person came late, like I described in the case of our company R before now. It was all about sanction, sanction, sanction. But in this case, what if we look at it from a different angle? We see that people want something. There was a reason why they will come late. I forgot to mention in the case R that during the late coming, when HR took over the payroll from the accountants and the biometric machine, the HR went deep with empathy to find out when he saw different employee coming late, he goes to each of them and asks, on the 28th, you came late. Why did you come late? On the 5th, you came late. Why were you late that day? He asks all of them, and the days it says that they have unified reasons, similar reason. Probably it was because of rainfall. He striked out all those days. And believe me, the mood of the employees, it changed, and they were happy when the payroll came. They realized that the deduction wasn't that massive as it used to be. So the same approach now was also done in this organization, where lateness, rather than concentrate on the negative part of the employee, why not focus on the positive part? In most cases, we get to sanction the people that are doing bad. Why not think of rewarding the people that are doing well for you? So the HR manager in this situation, what did he do? Rather than focus on the people that came late, he chose to reward the people, the best person, the man that recorded the best attendance, and he made it public. He displayed the names of the people that were doing fine in terms of attendance, and everyone saw it that no, these people came late. So between me and you, I will now begin to check, where is my name in the list of people who are doing well? If you cannot find your name on the list of people who are doing well, then you know where you belong. So this was a psychological approach to tell people that you are coming late, you need to do better. So the giveaway was done to the people that came on time, and they were happy. So this continued for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, we can see what happened 3 weeks later. We saw that the on time from 31% came up to 52%. The people on grace line improved from 30% to 34%. Meanwhile, the lateness went from 38 to 17. This is a real life situation. So these are the things we need to look at. These are analytics that can tell us that yes, it touches down on the kind of leadership we use. It tells you that no, your employees don't want the transactional leadership style. In some areas, transformational leadership works for them. You call them, let them see where they are not doing fine. Instead of using the cane all the time, throw some carrots to them and see if they will not change. So these are the 3 scenarios that we can see that makes analytics help us read people very well. Now we talk about a 4th one, which is a case study which talks about teamwork and productivity. At least from what we've seen so far, we've talked about leadership and we've talked about resource management case study. And now we're also talking about teamwork and productivity, how people analytics can help us work on people's teamwork. So in this case, I will need 2 people also to unmute again. One person will talk about the manager. We'll talk about the character, because these people, They are characters in our real life that we all know on the internet and in the movie industry in Nigeria. You might not need to mention the name, but I believe one way or the other, we all know these people very well. And we know their age, we know the demographic they belong to. So I will need to people to unmute, to signify to unmute. One person will tell us about the man, person will tell us about the colleague. So let's go.
Okay, can I go?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So the manager is nice, disciplined, but temperamental boomer. Should I read that quote? Ekwensu onya na chogi na movie. So the manager is a very temperamental person, yeah, nice and disciplined. So the colleague, hardworking but unrefined body.
Okay, now Eniola, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. I don't want you to look at the tagline below. Just look at the picture. Do you know that person very well in the movie industry? Tell us what kind of role does he play in the movie industry? That statement there, me too, I don't know how to read it very well, but I can say that something like that, you know. So if you have anybody who can read it better, can also help us. So I just want to look at that person, forget about the tagline, look at that person and tell us what he does, the role he plays in the movies. So go ahead.
Okay, so this guy acts in most Nollywood movies, both English and Igbo as well. He's always very, very firm and I don't even know how to describe it. He's always very firm and straight to the point. And that's caught in between, yes. He's that kind of person that easily causes people and lays abuses in very funny way, though.
Especially when you get him angry.
Yes, when you get him angry, he will give you hot as it is.
Exactly. So that is one kind of employee in one of your departments. Now, I need Emmanuel Motito to tell us about, thank you, Eniola. Emmanuel Motito, can you unmute and tell us about this colleague here? And that thing, that regular quote that she usually say. So go ahead. Emmanuel.
Yes, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. We can hear you now.
Okay, so
Emmanuel, we can't hear you anymore.
you hear me now?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Okay, I was saying the colleague happens to be quite unruly, even though he's hardworking, but he can be stubborn, and he will give his best when
Emmanuel, you are breaking.
You shouldn't talk to me anyhow.
Emmanuel, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
So
we can't hear you. We didn't hear what you said, Emmanuel. I guess Emmanuel is having issues with his network. If someone else can help us, someone else should help us, please. Who else can help us here?
Yeah, so, okay, let me go.
All right, Williams, you can go ahead.
Yes, he's a hardworking person now, and but at times it takes things for legacy.
Williams, let's not look at that tagline. Let's not look at what is written under that character. Just look at that picture. Where do you usually see him?
Okay,
what kind of role does this person
play? Okay, can you hear me now?
Most time. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, so what do we do now? Emmanuel, we couldn't hear you, so Williams is taking it for us. Williams, you can go ahead.
Okay. So he does things most times on TikTok. We see most time on TikTok. So you can categorize it as the Gen Z generation. And it tends to be very funny in most cases. And it takes things not too serious, you know. And he's humorous. And he can also make sure that the environment is is happy to an extent.
It's lively.
You know,
Yes.
it's lively. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Williams, I have one more question for you. Can you tell me that based on the explanation of Eniola and yourself, can you say that what is written under these two characters matches what they do real life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, correct.
Exactly. Now imagine having these two kinds of people in one department that you work in. What do you think will happen? Emmanuel, if you want to talk about it, what do you think will happen with these two kinds of personality in your department when the manager is saying, and the other one is saying, so you understand what that means now? Can you listen?
Yeah.
Can you tell us exactly what could happen
Too
in that department?
It's too dramatic.
Exactly. So now I will need someone else to also tell us in this kind of situation, what do you think can be done to make these two people work together, because they are just two sides of the coin that can never meet. But then, just like the problem that was experienced in company R, you have already employed these people before you knew that they stay far away. You've already employed them before you knew that yes, you know that they have their fundamental human right, which is one of your reasons that you have to employ them. They have the right to earn a living in the company, in the country they live. So you employ them because of that. You also employ them because you need them, you need their expertise to support your business. But then they have their differences. They belong to different generations cohorts. And as we can see here, this is a fully DEI compliant organization. Because while the manager is male, the colleague is a female. While the manager is from one ethnic group, the colleague is from another ethnic group. While the manager belongs to a certain generation's cohort, the colleague is from another generation's cohort. In this organization, we can see that succession planning is sure. Succession planning is certain, but then how do you make sure that this plan is effective? Having these two different personalities in the system, and of which they have every right to behave they want to behave outside, but not within the organization. How do you make them come together to work together? As an HR person, I want one person to just unmute and give us an idea. Can somebody unmute and help us out? Okay.
Okay.
All right, Williams, you can go ahead if you want to.
So, okay, sorry again, coming in. So again, for us to read that, we have to see the level of their productivity in terms of delivering or their deliverables. You know, and depending on how you take your work seriously, that does not mean that you can't really work together. Yes, you may have differences, but when you have a set goals of achieving this in your department, you must see how well you have to collaborate and make sure that it's being done, basically. That's my point.
Exactly. All right, thank you very much. Well, in the absence of any other points, I can say that as the HR, we all have read it everywhere, and we all know that our job, whether we like it or not, we are the medical doctors, we are the lawyers, we are the psychiatrists, we are the therapists, we are this, we are that, we are the mentors. So in this case, we know people very well because we are the behaviorists. We know how people behave. We know how they do what they do. We know why they do what they want to do and when they want to do it and how they want to do it. We understand all this. We understand everybody's nature. So we just have to come together and see how we can help them out. Now we are going to put all different HR aspects into play here. If I'm the one, I will call the manager on a lighter note and not at that point where the fight is hot. I will separate them. Oga, calm down. Employee, go and wait for me in my office. Then you make it it can be a friendly note that, look, you will now begin to explain the kind of cohorts that the colleague belongs to. You say this, you then begin to tell the manager, look, manager, these people, this is how they behave. This is what they need. This is the kind of leadership style that suits them. So you do some form of coaching, some pep talking, some mentorship to the manager. Then you also suggest to the manager, we can send this person on a kind of behavioral training. We can send this person on a kind of soft skill training. So that when the employee, when the colleague goes for that training, he comes back a better person. He sees things in the better way than how he feels he's doing it. Because you cannot blame him for how he's behaving. It could be that the person that trained him to know the job by doing what he or she does. Unfortunately, how she learns the job does not work in this organization. So you need to help that person unlearn and learn something new. So this is the advice you will give the manager and teach him how to work, how to talk, how to relate with the colleague better. And how did you do this? Because you already have a database. You have analyzed everybody. You know that this man belongs to a boomer. And you know the nature of baby boomers. You know the nature of the millennials, Gen X's. You know the nature of the Gen Z's as well. So you know what works for them. You know their weak points. But I believe me, a manager who is not an HR person might not know. He only believes that the way I train my kids in the work in my house, it is how I'm going to train my colleague in the office, whether she's older than me or younger than me or not. So it is you who will step in and tell the manager how to do it and how you can come into support. Then you will now move to the colleague as well. Look, I understand you have challenges with your manager. This is how this company works. We need to make money. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need peace. We need synergy in the system. Therefore, whether you like it or not, you just need to pipe low. Try to massage the ego of this one too, as a psychologist that you are. Then you also tell him, look, instead of issuing query every now and then, I don't want to issue query to you because I know you are hardworking. I can see the work you have done. Encourage the person so he himself will feel like, no, there's somebody understands me. This is the HR. He understands me. My manager just doesn't understand. But at some point, when he now gets to the office, not knowing that you've already spoken to the manager comes down. Come, QR7. See, they now talk one-on-one. And before you know it, there will be changes. Where there is teamwork, definitely productivity would peak. So all these are actually not achieved without analytics. If you don't know the nature of each person, if you don't know my age, if you don't know the age of this person, this colleague, you would think you'll be relating with him as an older person. After all, he or she is above 18. You'll be relating with him as you just generalize that this person is above 18. Let me relate with him with this format. But because you know exactly the category this person belongs to, you are able to speak to the situation with the help of data. You will realize that you make the difference in the workforce of that organization. So having spoken about this, let us just move on with the webinar. We are almost at the end of the session. Now we're talking about continuous improvement and return on investment. So how do we measure return on investment in this case? It is by seeing that the manager and the colleague are now working together. They don't get to call you every time. Manager will call you, HR, give query to this person because he has misbehaved. HR, give query to this person because he has done. They no longer call you. And you ask manager about the feedback. That is where feedback is also good. Because they are quiet, because they are not coming to you, does not mean everything is going fine. It could be that the manager is just keeping quiet, waiting for one day that it will blow again. So you meet the manager, how far, how is your staff doing now? Is it behaving well? So the feedback you hear from the manager is how you know that, yes, your effort is working. And at the same time, let us continue to measure our all different metrics, our retention rates, our time to fill, and so on, so that we can continue to improve, make better decisions. Now, this will take me back to one of the slides where we are having attendance issue. There was attendance issue. You believe that people are coming late. But with your machine, you can see that some people actually clock from their homes. They've not gotten to the office, but they are clocking. These are the improvements you are talking about. You want to make sure that they are actually in the office at the right time. And how do you know that they clock from their houses? There are some HRIS, like I mentioned earlier, can help you out in this case. They will check the location of where that person is clocking. As they are clocking, as you are seeing it on your dashboard, you are seeing where that person is clocking from. You know if this person is being truthful or not. These are the improvements. Though this person came in early, but then he came in from his house. So you can now isolate out of the good ones, there are still some bad ones. You can now isolate the bad good ones from the good ones. So you now continue to reward the good ones while you continue to advise the bad good ones to get better. So another thing concerning continuous improvement is that most organizations should invest more in HR automation. HR automation is key. It makes the job easier for you. So it is for the HR to know how to present the need for automation. It makes his job easier for you. It makes you help make enhanced decision, and it makes the business grow eventually. So these, amongst others, are the things we need to do to ensure continuous improvement in every organization we work with. So before I end this, before I ask for question and answer, we have a quote from James Bergson that says that data will talk to you if you are willing to listen. Data will talk to you if you are willing to listen. So I believe with everything I have said so far, I have been able to convince you and not confuse you that analytics, that is people analytics, will help you make enhanced decision about people. It will help you enhance your productivity. It helps you enhance a steady workplace if the right thing is done. So at this point, I will say thank you very much for listening to me, and you can bring in your question and answer if you have any. Thank you. So if you have any question, please bring it forward. Can we all hear me?
Any questions, comments, contributions? Thank you so much, David Okuno. This is perhaps the most interesting data webinar I've been part of. Thank you
very
for
much,
making it very simple and relatable.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Any question, any comments? Timsy, Ditimi, please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. I think I would say I really gained a lot, though I've been attending certain HR, metrics section, but this has been more eye-opening. So basically, I would say I'm new into HR, right? So I would say this is like my officially 1 year. Let me not say 1 year, 8 months precisely.
Welcome
right?
to the profession.
Thank you so much. So basically, I concern about HR metrics, data analytics, like HR analytics, if that's what is permitted.
Yes,
so
it is. Go ahead.
I want to ask, in a scenario whereby the organization you work in, right, tend to be more focused on cutting costs, right, such that majority of the ideas you bring out, even through HR analytics, showing that, okay, these are the steps you should take, these are the steps you should take, but because the top management happens to be a kind of culture whereby they are eager to cut costs than take recommendations from HR, what kind of advice would that be, despite that, okay, you are doing your analytics and you're giving them what's it called, proof and reasons with data as to why certain decisions should be taken? I would actually seek for your opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Timsy. So in a case like that, I want you to first of all understand that you are working for the company and you don't want to be seen as pro-staff and anti-management. Because when the company continues to make money, everybody's happy. We're all going El Dorado. It is proper that every business manager will tell you, look, I don't want to spend money on this. I just want you to work. Just keep working yourself out. You know you have this idea. You can actually, as an HR person, you have every opportunity to work with different managers. You would have to go with a mindset of cost cutting as well. You show the manager, you show the business owner that, look, if we do this, it's going to cut. This is how much we are going to save. If you present a training calendar, a training plan, for example, to a business owner that he's going to pay XYZ million of naira, what I'm going to tell you is, how does this bring money into my coffers? So it is not left for you to present to him that, look, if we do it this way, it will help this employee to get more money in. It will open their mindset to see that if I'm doing 2 + 2 to get 4, I can actually do 1 + 1 + 2. So you need to present that in such a way that they will see to your own side and share your sentiment. And if you realize that it is not working, you don't have to be forceful about it. Give it some time, re-strategize, and go again. And while you go again, of course, you are working with the managers. The business owner might not understand you. You are working with different managers, and their input matter a lot in this case. So you can actually as well speak with the managers. You might not present all your information to them. Just share 1 or 2 ideas with the managers. Look, Mr. Manager, how are your team doing? You can just do it in form of a fact finding from them. Are your team doing well? If he says no, then you can actually share to him that, don't you think if we send your salesman for a negotiation training, because I have noticed from appraisal record that your staff is not doing well, he or she is lagging when it comes to revenue generation. Don't you think, Mr. Manager, that if we send your staff on negotiation training, it will actually work for your staff? So he will tell you his own mind. He won't know that you've already started presenting it to the MD, that he's not taking it. So he will not be the next person to push unknowingly for you. He might just go there and say, sir, I think this is true. My team member is not productive enough. I think if we engage in a form of training, it might not be external. It could be an implant training where you bring in someone from outside to come and train your people. If sending one person will be more expensive, he can say, okay, let's bring that person in to share idea with every one of us so that we can retain the knowledge in-house. In case there is an attrition of one man, other person will have it, and we still have that money. The value of that training still reside inside our system. So when you push it to that manager, he can as well speak when he's having his own reports with the MD or whoever you are reporting to, and the MD might hear. So you can also do a follow-up with him. And when he comes back, I spoke with him and this and that. Don't do as if you have spoken with the MD before. So when you hear, you can now represent it in a different way, where you will still share the sentiment of the MD that, look, sir, I understand your point. I also want this business to grow. And one of the big way the business can grow is that we need to send some people on training. We need to do this. We need to create a work-life balance for our employees. If we let these people that are staying far away, if we give them 1 hour late resumption, instead of resuming by 8, if they resume by 9 o'clock and they close by 6, they still have done that same 8 hours stipulated by labor law. So nothing has spoiled. Where they are supposed to close by 5, they close by 6, and everything is still okay. You've not lost anything. You've not lost any productivity time. You take only 8 hours out of their 24 hours, and they have given it to you. It is still the same thing. Nothing is damaged here. So I believe if you try this approach as well, something can work out for you. I hope this answers your question to me.
Thank you so much. That was insightful. Yeah, I think I will pen that down and work towards that. I really appreciate.
You're welcome.
Madam Omoba, Madam Princess, you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for the very enlightening presentation and breaking it down. I'm not a figures person at all, so when it comes to data, I'm like, gosh, because there's so much to take in and to read, and I'm like, oh, because when you started, I was like, this is technical, but all the examples made it quite very understandable and relatable.
My pleasure.
One of some of the things that I wanted to advise the gentleman who was asking the question, you already mentioned some of them. And one of the things that I always say to people, HR practitioners and professionals, is that we have to use a lot of tact and diplomacies when we are talking, in order for us to push any, you must always come with data of those who have done those things before. The same, like organizations, maybe the kind of business that your organization is doing is what those ones are doing. And they've been able to, all of those things that you're trying to sell to your own bosses, those organizations have been able to do them, and they've raked in the money. They've done this, they've done that. So you do a lot of benchmarking. We have to do, like our facilitator said, our work is a lot. You have to research, you have to dig in, you have to do all of those things. So when you're giving them the different datas and different, benchmarks of those that have done what you are trying to sell to them and have done well and have excelled in them and all of those things, you're also telling them all the risk factors so that they know you've gone through everything before you came to present it to them. That might also help you. But again, it is always difficult with a one-man's business. I will tell you that for free. When you have a one-man's business, it is always difficult to push things forward because having HR is more like fulfilling righteousness. They are the ones running the place themselves. It can be very difficult, but those are some of the steps that you can take forward in ensuring that your value-adding propositions for your organizations are taken on board as an HR person. There's also your personality. Are you assertive? Are you friendly? Do you know how to warm your way around them without compromising your stand? Do you know how to notice because we have to be very on top of our game when it comes to emotional intelligence. You have to profile people. It's even there in one of the data, that we were given now, that you need to, when being able to put all of those data together, you can know the different character traits of your different, the staffs that you have, the demographics they belong to, and all of those things. When you know all of these things, then you can then say, these are some of the things that, we can bring in to do. And you can start small. You can start with small things, things that will not greatly, cost them money. Start with the things that there's no money involved. It's just about this and that or something. You can even start with some of your own stuff. Listen, I had to do that when we were trying to push. I retired from Lagos State government. So when my office that I used to work in at the time, and when I started, I was brought in from the UK to come and set up that, and we were the ones who floated the HR for Lagos State, that Lagos State started. When they started doing those HR things, and they started saying they must develop KPIs, they must, set goals, I started doing it with my department that I was heading. I started making my own team to do all of those things. And then people start seeing the way, things were getting so easy for them, how we're able to meet targets so easily, how we're able to do things so easily. And so and then my staff started showing off to the other team members. Mike, my Oga, our Oga has done that. This is how we do it in my department too. So you can start small like that. Do you understand? So that they can then start looking at those people that you are already engaging and the impacts that what you're doing is having on them, how the value, is being added and all of those things. Because I'm telling you, being an HR person in an organization, it's not beans, like we say in Nigeria. It's not beans at all. But you must be assertive. You must be seen to know your onions. You must know that job well. You must know it to the fact that when they come to you, if you don't have ready answer, tell them, give me 10 minutes. Come back to your own cohorts in the HR. I beg you, please, I need to get this information. Come back to us. Come back to those, network of HR people that you have. This platform that we have, this mentorship platform that we have, I don't think that people know the depth or the magnitude of resources that is available to us. You understand? I am retired, but I tell you, I try never to miss this because there's no day that I join this webinar that I'm not gaining something. I am continuously learning, and that is the way to go. So I really, really wish you luck, sir, the man that is trying to push the HR thing, that the data thing that you're trying to do in your office. Thank you once again, Mr. Yemi Maoga. Well done, sir. And thank you, our facilitator.
Thank you very much, ma. Okay, someone asked a question here on the chat that said, why are we not the highest paid? I think Williams, he said, why are we not the highest paid? That is the part I'm yet to understand because we are everything, including a therapist. Organizational value and ethics regulates behavior in the workplace. Well, I think like in line with what Madam Princess said earlier, HR needs to be appreciated. HR needs to be seen as a part of the business and not just a cost center. So when we are able to prove ourselves that we are meant to be recognized, when we go with fact, we convince the management that, look, we are here to make the business better and not just to add cost or to help you do administrative routine. We'll begin to have difference. And I can see that CIPM is already on this move to make sure things are well regulated in the system so that someone who's supposed to be on a certain level of HR practice is not elevated unnecessarily. It's just like elevating an HR intern because he or she is the only person, we now call him HR manager so that it won't work because there are a set of skills that this person must have that this person does not have. So he will not be able to deliver on the managerial level. So when organizations see this, they feel like, what is HR even doing self? Please, let me do it myself. HR, go and sit down. Go and issue query to that person. When it comes to termination or carrying out disciplinary action, they will not call you. It is when they want to issue letter, they will now call you. They will say, yeah, HR, issue termination letter to that person. Bring it, let me sign. You can't even sign it. So until we get to this point where we can take our standard, this is where we belong, things will change. That's my take on that question. So for the second, go on.
Sorry,
Madam, you want to say something?
Yes, I was just going to say another thing. There's a genesis to it also, because HR it's just began to evolve probably in the last 30 years, unlike those that say they are accountants or they are lawyers. Do you understand? HR is something that people are just getting to know. So organizations back in the days just started with personnel management. They were just managing personnel. And managing personnel was you as the admin person, you were under, you can be under a finance person. You can be under, so they never really created that niche as HR. So it's just evolving. And if we continue to evolve this way, you'll see that they will start changing the way they look at us. They'll start changing the amounts that they pay because they're beginning to realize that we are actually the heartbeat of every organization. We are the engine room because we are the ones who know what everybody does. A finance person would not really know what we do in HR. A lawyer will not really know what we do. It is HR that will know the role of lawyer, that you are the one who's supposed to do this, the engineer, you are supposed to do that, and all of those things. So I think that's also one of the reasons. So we are just, it's like a case of we are beginning to set the tone of how things need to be through organizations like the CIPM and all of that, really making HR more visible, really taking our place, not just sitting on the table, we are beginning to own the table and we sit on top of the table, So that's exactly, that's one of the reasons, why we seem to be, relegated in terms of, pay and all of that. And it is changing, thankfully. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma. So there's one last question here from Amidat's iPhone. Amidat, okay. I want to ask a question. As a young human resource personnel, when you are working with people that are older than you and you have to settle discord, disputes, and misunderstandings, and also guide them on how to manage their work relationship with their colleagues, or subordinates or supervisors? How should I handle such a situation to ensure that I am communicating properly and they will listen even though they feel they know better? Okay, so one response, I think someone gave a response here. If you are opportune to address older people, you are to ensure that no disturbance and all pay attention. Yes, that is one. And also, I believe that we have discussed a whole lot. Madam Princess has said a lot, and I believe your answer is somewhere in this place. You have to be grounded in all this area that we've spoken about. You need to know each person, profile them, know their personality very well. That will even help you to know how to approach them in the first place, not to talk of trying to make them settle each other. You should be able to sync when you are talking with each of them. You should be able to sync with this person's mood at that moment. Then with the second person too, you sync with that person's mood. Then when you're able to sync with them, you can now make them come into agreement that, look, this is how you should relate with your manager. This is how you should relate with your subordinates. So when you're able to do this, you realize that things will get better. But then you need to be grounded in data. It is necessary. You need to know everybody that you work with, like you are their parent. When I say their parent, now, like, parents know their children very well. They know what child A would do. It is different from what child B will do. So this touches on onto leadership as well. When you are in HR, believe me, you are in a leadership position because you will do a whole lot. You need to know what works for each person. The kind of leadership approach you use for this person would have to be different from how you do this one. It doesn't have to be the same thing across board. So if you can understand all this as well, I believe there will be a difference in your life will be sweeter when you're working as a young HR person. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think this is a convenient place for us to draw the curtains and call it a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, do me one favor. Please, let's unmute and let's say thank you to the most handsome facilitator of the day, David Okunowo, for doing an outstanding job.
David, thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
I expect something lesser than that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
so much,
Thank you. I wish you all the best. Bye.
Bye-bye, David.
Thank you, Madam Princess.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank
the
you so
opportunity.
much. Very insightful section. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. And tomorrow, not that. On Saturday morning, you must turn in your complete manuscript.